Hello, everybody, and we are here in Bradenton, Florida, the Motor City Man Mouse Show. The Toronto Blue Jays and the Pittsburgh Pirates with two Detroiters here. How is that even possible, Joe Block?
Well, that's my job, so I'm here to do my job today. Yeah.
You're here to do your job. You've been doing it, 11 years? 11 years here with the Pirates?
Yeah, 11 years with the Pirates, and just watching baseball in Florida. Can't beat that.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your Pirates tenure. Give me some of the highlights that you have covering this team.
Well, this year, clearly, Paul Skeens being the Cy Young Award winner, that, as you know, in Detroit with Tarek Skubal, having somebody like that you can count on to win just about every ball game that he pitches, that's so nice. And then this year's been highlighted because there's a chance that there could be a teenage shortstop starting for the Pirates, if not on opening day, certainly early in the season with Connor Griffin. So they've got some good talent here in Pittsburgh, and hopefully that it's going to make them the Pirates get to the playoffs for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah, Paul Skeens obviously played in the World Baseball Classic. Had a pretty good little run up there. Good experience for a guy who hasn't really seen the postseason a lot. What do you think he's going to get out of that?
Well, he said that that experience obviously kind of gets you ready for pitching in front of fans, and but he treats every game that it's something that he needs to win. So whether it's a spring training game or a World Baseball Classic game or a regular season game or potential clincher, he has that ability to be able to treat every game that it stands on its own. So that's something that makes him special too, that he can compartmentalize all that stuff. And whereas a lot of athletes, of course, succumb to the pressure, he doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy seems like he is iron, doesn't he? The way he's able to go out there, stand on the mound, demand the poise that he has, and it carries over to his teammates in terms of the way he goes about his business, albeit he might lack a little run support, but that's the pitcher's job is to get outs.
Yeah, and so, last year, a 10-10 record, but the Pirates bolstered their offense a good bit, bringing some veteran players in. So I think he'll see more runs on his side, but it didn't bother him, pitching in a 0-0 or 1-0 game, things of that nature. Because he just continued to pitch well, even though for the most part, he was pitching in a lot of low-scoring games.
Yeah, I know the one question that's often asked to a lot of people in Pittsburgh is you have Paul Skeens for a while, but the question is, can you keep him long term? Do you think that the Pirates ownership is determined to try to keep this guy long term? Because obviously economics are going to play a big part of it.
Yeah, and I think depending on what happens in the next collective bargaining agreement, that could be something that helps the Pirates and Skeens be able to find an accord. I know that Paul likes Pittsburgh, and obviously who wouldn't want to keep him on their team? So I think once that gets all settled out, it'll be a clearer picture of kind of what it would take financially to secure him. And then he'll also, talking about Paul, he'll have a better picture of kind of what the landscape would be going forward. But he really is a feet in the shoes guy, where he's focusing on, if he's got his next start, he's thinking about that. And so the long-term picture will play itself out. But I know he likes Pittsburgh, and obviously the Pirates like him.
Well, being in a blue-collar city like I am and you are from Metro Detroit, we know that blue-collar cities generally treat their sports heroes and they give them that warm, fuzzy feeling.
Well, yeah, how can you not? I mean, he's a great leader, and he's you can argue he's the best pitcher in baseball, certainly in the National League. I know on this show I don't want to say that with Skubal in the American League, but he's certainly one of the best pitchers around. So he's revered in Pittsburgh and will be for years to come. If they win some postseason games with him on the mound.
Let's talk about a former Tiger that's actually your manager named Don Kelly. Tell me what Don Kelly's been able to do to try to keep this team even keeled. I know he came into the job with not a lot of high expectations. I think he came in as an interim guy, and he ended up winning the job. This guy seems like a pretty good manager for this group.
Yeah, he came in on May 8th last year, ascended from the bench coach, named the manager. It wasn't an interim tag, so there was a good chance that he might be brought back as the manager this year, and sure enough, he was. So they settled that right as the season ended last year. So that was good for him and for the Pirates. And then over the winter, as they recruited free agents, you knew who the manager was. There was no managerial search or anything like that. And guys really liked playing for him because, as you saw when he was playing for the Tigers under Jim Leyland, he was an Ausmus for a year too. But he was the kind of player that would do whatever it takes. And so now that's what he asks from his team, is to just do whatever it takes to go out there to win ball games. And this is really the mindset that you've seen from day one of camp still going forward, is that's the kind of player that he was, are the kind of players that his guys are going to try to be, no matter the talent level, no matter the contract, no matter how much service time you have. That's the kind of play he demands, and the guys have responded.
So please clarify what you said a moment ago. You say he was not an interim manager last year, or he came in May 8th? I need a little clarification.
Yeah, May 8th, Derek Shelton was let go, and then Donnie Kelly was named the manager at that time.
Okay, so he was named the permanent manager after Derek Shelton left. I'm just trying to make sure I understand how that is.
Mm-hmm. For the rest of that season, yeah, is what they said, but they didn't call him an interim manager. They called him the manager.
Okay, well, that gives my audience a little bit of clarification. Yeah. So when you talk about the Pirates in general, Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell, how much do you embrace the history? Because let's face the reality, Clemente gets his 3,000th hit, and then he does that noble thing that unfortunately cost him his life. But you have a ballpark in PNC. I've yet to have been to it, but talk about just being able to represent the Pirates tradition and all the great players that have been here, plus the World Series that you've had along the way. Because I know recently Bill Mazeroski passed.
Yeah, and that's really the last living Hall of Fame Pirate. As it stands right now, Dave Parker was inducted, as it turned out, posthumously last year. So with the Pirates as they stand right now, it's looking back at a lot of the greats from times gone by. And so people of a certain age remember the 70s championships and Pops and Roberto and Maz and some of the predecessors there too. So the Pirates have a great history. It's just trying to rekindle that again with this current group, and you're mentioning Skeens earlier, and maybe some of these other guys. Who knows? Maybe that could be the next generation that represents the Pirates in the Hall of Fame one day.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you can retain the talent, and now you have a manager who's pretty even keel like Don Kelly, you have the makings of something here. Now, do you feel that there's a possibility that there could be some sustainability here?
Oh, sure. I mean, that's the hope. I mean, when you put together a team like they have that should be competitive this year, and you have a lot of young players coming up through the farm system, either who have been up or are coming up, you want to keep them for as long as you can. So I know that the Pirates are hoping to do that. It's just a matter of, how many guys can they sign? They have Keller and Reynolds signed long-term. So they've started in that direction where, they're going to at least try to keep guys, if they want to stay in Pittsburgh, that they're going to make an offer and hopefully keep them.
One or two more Pirates questions, and I want to tilt a little over to Milwaukee and Detroit. Then I know you have to get to work, but that's this. Yeah, obviously the Pirates have had a great history of broadcasters. Bob Prince is on there, Steve Blass. Have you been able to really embrace a lot of their past broadcasters, and how much have you enjoyed, the people that came before you?
Yeah, we're sitting in the Steve Blass booth right now, and I got to work with Steve for 4 years when I first started here, and sat next to Bob Uecker for 4 years in Milwaukee, and learned a lot from him, and we had a lot of laughs. It was great, and so my personal history, being able to work with some of the best people and best broadcasters, it's been a privilege. But the Pirates have, going back to Rosie Rosewell, I mean, have had, Harold Arlen had the first broadcast ever in 1921 on KDKA. So. Pittsburgh baseball on the radio, it's a privilege to be able to broadcast for the Pirates because there have been so many great people that have done that through the years.
Are there any particular broadcasters that you've learned from over the years that you've been able to try to build your style around? Obviously, you have to be your own person, but let's not get ourselves. Being from the Detroit area, I've always tried to pattern myself around Ernie Harwell and others, but Ernie was my favorite one. But what about you, Joe?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have one person or even a few people that I've patterned anything against. I'm kind of a weirdo, so I just got to do whatever I like to do. But yeah, growing up in Detroit, obviously, it was Ernie and Paul on the radio. Paul Carey doesn't get enough accolades, in my opinion. He was really good. And then George and Al on TV. You have two Hall of Fame players doing the game. George on play-by-play and Al on color. And I mean, so I learned the game of baseball between those four guys, being able to watch them, and they really made the game vivid, but also, brought it to me in a way that was exciting. And of course, the Tigers. I grew up I started following baseball in the mid '80s, so '84 I was 6 years old, and okay, what is this? This seems exciting. Cruising Gratiot with my dad in his '57 Chevy pickup, honking the horn, and okay, what is this? So, '85, '86, and I was 8 years old. I started really getting into Tigers, the 20 home run infield, and then '87 went into Tanana over Key in the final day of the season. It couldn't have been better, and I was that game. That 1-0 Larry Herndon home run and the whole bit, that game cemented my love for baseball on the final day of the '87 regular season. So, yeah, Detroit, I owe a lot to it because it raised me as a person, but it also made me want to follow this career path.
It's unbelievable, too, because when you think about it, Tiger Stadium is what you and I were brought up with. Anyways, a lot of people appreciate a place like Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, it was a great spot, and I was so fortunate that its final year, I was 21. So I really got to experience it as a kid, and then for 1 year as a young adult, and have a beer at the ballpark and that kind of thing. I did get to go into the, into the clubhouses and in the press boxes and into the booths as a kind of an intern type guy for a couple of years there too. So I really got to see Tiger Stadium. Really, at least a glimpse in all ways, and so I feel so fortunate for that because I have lifelong memories in my mind of that great place.
Did you ever make it to the final game at Tiger Stadium?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I think I went to 11 of the final 15, and I had tickets with my buddies. Took my sister to the second last game. My one sibling, so it was just that kind of stuff. I'm glad I had a sense at the time. I went to the final opening day in '99, and
yeah, me too. I was there.
Yeah, that was the only one I ever got to go to. But I went to Harmony House, got tickets first thing in the morning that day up in Lansing when I was still a student at Michigan State. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I could experience that park as much as I could, driving to and from Lansing that final season. But it was worth it.
Yeah, I got opening day and I got the final day. I don't know what I did in between.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Pirates in 2026. What kind of a year do you think that you guys are in for? Obviously, some changes have been made. Of course, you're going to be anchored with Skeens and some other. What other guys can we expect to maybe hear from? Just give me your overall perspective of 2026.
Well, like I said earlier, I think they bolstered their offense.
Okay.
They've got some really good pitching that they brought back from last year with Skeens anchoring it, and so with Donnie at the helm, it's a good environment. I think that plays up usually when you have a manager that people like to play for and knows what he's doing. So I think this is going to be a competitive team this year.
Joe Block, by the way, joining the Motor City Mad Mouse Show. My name is Scott Morganroth, along with Joe Block. No, don't confuse him with Joe Block, although he'll get to the Hall of Fame one day at the trajectory that you're headed. So you,
I don't know about that.
No, we'll see. Hey, listen.
I did go last month to visit, so yeah.
Well, I mean, you also had an opportunity to broadcast in Milwaukee for a while. You said you were there, I believe, 4 years? Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me what it's like, to have gone out there and broadcast for Milwaukee. I guess you were doing radio there as well, right?
Yeah, it was a radio only there, and working alongside Bob Uecker was such a privilege. Still can't believe he's gone. He's sorely missed by so many people, including me and my family. He was just so great. But to sit in that booth before a game, we could be talking about maybe the game the night before, what we might think that might happen tonight, or it could just be something silly, and having laughs and just had a great relationship. But the people of Milwaukee were tremendous, really great baseball fans. They love their Brewers. They come out through thick and thin, and it's just fun. It was fun to go out in the parking lots. If I got a friend that's tailgating or whatever, go out and hey, you got to try that. Okay, yeah, have a little beer, little broad or something before the game, real quick, and then get back and do the ball game. So I mean, just what a special environment it is in Milwaukee.
Well, Pittsburgh, Milwaukee are both small market teams. Obviously, they have to watch their budgets and spend their money wisely. So, what are your thoughts about both these two organizations, let alone the fact that they're in the same division and you have a chance to go to Milwaukee a few times a year?
Yeah, well, hopefully the Pirates follow in the Brewers' footsteps because they've been so successful. Milwaukee has at making the most out of, like you said, a smaller market payroll. So hopefully they can do that this year.
All right. Well, all I want to tell you, Joe, it's been a pleasure doing this with you. Obviously, short notice, but I appreciate you giving me the time. But it's always good when you have two Metro Detroiters, being able to do this. And I think that when you think about your broadcasting career, what do you feel is your biggest highlight? And what are you looking to accomplish before it's all said and done?
Just look at every game and try to enjoy it and see what I can find is interesting and pass that along to the audience. I've never thought of highlights. My highlight is that I get to do this. So every day is a highlight for me, basically. That's how I see it.
So it's up to Joe Block to make sure that he connects the old generation from the Roberto Clementis to the Willie Stargills to the newer generation to what he has now. And I think that's the type of thing that you can embrace knowing you have a very historical franchise. Yeah. And it's not often that an announcer gets a chance to be a historical franchise over 100 years.
Yeah, it's a privilege, and I don't take it lightly. So I'm glad to be doing it.
Well, you know what, Joe, it's been a privilege talking to you as well, and I want to thank you very much for joining the Motor City Mad Mouth Show. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.